Hello, welcome to my political news opinion review of major news from January of 2021. This series is where I provide some opinion and coverage of major news stories from the previous month. This is done to provide the people with a method to hold myself accountable as I act in the capacity of a politician. This is essential as the people need to know my reactions to what is occurring around us and to ensure that everybody is able to keep track of current events. In this video, I will talk about the following news stories. U.S. Capitol attack and second impeachment of Donald John Trump Sr., and the beginning of the Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. presidency. These two broad categories encompass the major events of the month of January leading into February. On January 6th, a group of white supremacist, neo-Nazi, and otherwise extreme right-wing conspiracy theorists broke into the U.S. Capitol building, destroying various government property, and intended to terror, kidnap, and murder various political officials for certifying Joe Biden as the duly elected president. President Donald Trump having been responsible for infuriating the crowd, as well as directing that anger and otherwise inciting the violence that occurred, was impeached despite the short amount of time left in his presidency. There were debates over whether or not he would be able to be convicted by the Senate following the impeachment due to the Senate not meeting until after his presidency. However, the impeachment went forward, and the trial of President Trump occurred in February, so I will not talk of the results in this video. Unfortunately, while Donald Trump was not directly involved in the damage caused to the Capitol, though certainly directly affecting the reason that they went there and such. There were state lawmakers who were involved in the actual attack of the Capitol building. I am aware of West Virginia and Alaska lawmakers who participated, though I would not be surprised if there are lawmakers from other states that were involved as well. In Alaska, the Republican who was a part of the insurrection, he is no longer able to caucus with either the Republicans or the Democrats, and as such, while he continues to serve in the Alaska legislature, he does not get any of the benefits from caucusing with either party. As for the West Virginia state lawmaker who was involved, he was pressured to and did resign from the state legislature. In the aftermath of the United States Capitol attack, many people praised the Capitol Police for actions they took to keep the Congress and Vice President safe. However, also, the police assisted the insurrection, and they should have been far more prepared. With a proper distribution of funds, we would not have had to, as well as a proper distribution of authority, we would not have had to have dealt with many of the consequences of the insurrection. As such, we should still divert police funds, also known as defund the police, but divert many of the police funds into other programs which will keep us safer, including Congress and the Vice President. Also, in January, we saw the beginning of the Biden presidency. Cabinet confirmations that occurred in January include the Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines, I believe is her name, who held similar positions in the Obama administration, and so is certainly qualified for the position, though she was also instrumental in making it possible for Obama to use the illegal drone strikes. And as such, I would have preferred a less war criminal Director of National Intelligence. As for the Secretary of Defense, we have Lloyd Austin, who oversaw the war on ISIS/ISIL in the Obama administration. However, during that time, he did make a few statements that did not age well in regards to the fight against ISIS. However, overall, Mr. Austin's service there is commendable. He also, before taking this position as Secretary of Defense, took steps to reduce military suicides and mental illness in the military, which are great steps forward. The Secretary of the Treasury is Janet Yellen, who luckily understands that unemployment is worse for the people and the economy than inflation is, though both are vital to the economy. But obviously unemployment leads to more working class trauma. She is concerned about the debt, which I completely understand. We have a very massive debt, a very large deficit. But she looks to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security to try and balance the budget a bit better instead of reducing our bloated military budget. And then we have Secretary of State Tony Blinken, who has a track record for being an interventionist, which means that under his lead, I would not be surprised if the cabinet will be suggesting more wars in the Middle East, as well as further proxy wars against Russia and potentially China, and even potentially reinstating sanctions or blockades against various peoples. Luckily, though, he is not a unilateralist, understanding the importance of coalitions and cooperation in a globalized society. So even if we do get involved in more wars, which would be awful, at least he would be in favor of not acting alone in such conflicts. President Biden also did various executive orders, including various to combat the COVID-19 pandemic, including rejoining the World Health Organization, finally having the presidency take the pandemic seriously. He rejoined the Paris Climate Agreement, as well as stopped the Keystone Pipeline, 2 ways for us to move forward in ensuring that myself, my children, my future children, and my future grandchildren will have a Earth that isn't bombarded by unimaginable hurricanes, floods, and the like. He advocated for better equality standards, as we do not go far enough to ensure equality right now, including refortifying DACA. He advocated for workers' rights and benefits, undid the transgender ban on military personnel, and made a commitment to improve our diplomatic relations with the Native American nations, which we have historically discriminated against. Now, this is something I've been thinking about. This series has become highly scripted, though this one I only have bullet points, which is why you hear a lot of uhs and ums, and unhelpful. I believe that this no longer provides what its purpose is due to being so highly scripted, and honestly I find doing the series difficult and annoying at times. But I understand the importance of providing the people with the service that this series is supposed to provide. One thing I've also noticed is that I have a very heavy federal political bias in this series, which needs to change, as it's not very helpful for the local people who may want to know where I stand on local issues. I will be considering various options and will make my decision public through social media. I will say that I will guarantee a replacement to this series that will be less scripted. And yeah. So this is the end of the series, but I do hope to replace it with something similar. But in the meantime, please like this video, share it with family and friends, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, making sure to hit the bell icon. Please also check out my social media: Instagram at Lopez for Change, Twitter at Lopez for Change, Snapchat at Lopez for OKillWV, and Facebook, facebook.com/colby.lopez.12, which all should be linked in the description. Please stay safe and de-stress. I'm Colby Lopez, and I approve this message.